All right, welcome to the explainer. Now, we all know solar power is a great idea, right? It's clean, it's sustainable, a total win for homeowners. But what if it's hiding a pretty serious fire risk right on top of your roof?
Think about it. Protecting your home from wildfires and switching to clean solar energy. Those are two of the smartest things you can do as a homeowner. But what happens when those two goals collide? Can your quest for a green, solar-powered home actually make it more dangerous? That's what we're going to dig into. So yeah, let's start there. It really is a tale of two goals. You've got safety on one side and sustainability on the other.
It's pretty simple, right? We all want a home that's safe from threats, especially something as terrifying as a wildfire. And at the same time, we want to power that home with clean, renewable energy. On the surface, those two things sound like they go hand in hand. But, as they say, the devil's in the details. And that brings us right to the heart of the problem, the spark on the roof. This is exactly where those really good intentions can create some brand new and pretty scary risks. And listen, this isn't just some random opinion. This warning comes straight from the insurance industry. These are the folks who calculate risk for a living. And what they're saying is, look, if you install solar panels on a roof that's already combustible, you could be creating a perfect storm, one where a fire can just take off and spread with incredible speed.
And this is not just a what-if scenario. Take a look at Amazon. Between 2020 and 2021, almost 13% of their facilities with solar panels in North America had what they called critical fire or arc flash events. That is a massive number. It shows you this is a very real-world problem, even for a company with virtually unlimited resources.
Okay, so what is actually happening up there on the roof? Why do these things catch fire? Let's get into the anatomy of a failure and break down the science behind it. So often, the main culprit is something called an electric arc. And really, the easiest way to picture it is like a tiny, contained lightning strike happening inside your electrical system. It's this high-powered discharge of electricity that literally jumps across a small gap. And when it does, it creates an insane amount of heat. We're talking thousands of degrees. More than enough to set things on fire.
So where do these nasty little arcs actually happen in a solar panel system? Well, this diagram lays it out pretty clearly. You've got electricity flowing from the panels through all the wiring. If there's a bad connection along a single wire, you can get what's called a series arc. But even worse is a parallel arc, where electricity jumps between the positive and negative conductors. That's a direct short, and it creates a super hot ignition point right there on your roof.
So you might be thinking, is this just bad luck, a freak accident? Well, not really. A major German study looked into hundreds of these fires, and the results were eye-opening. The vast, vast majority come down to just two things: installation failures and product failures. That's huge. It means these fires aren't random. They are almost always preventable. And that same study got even more specific, pinpointing the exact failure points. You see the inverter on there? Sure, that's a big one. But look at everything else. DC connectors, switches, loose terminals, improperly installed cables. What's the common thread here? They're all points of connection. Every single fire starts with one weak link in that electrical chain, and it's usually because of a sloppy installation or just a cheap, low-quality part.
Okay, so that's the problem. And it sounds pretty serious, but here's the good news. There is a really clear two-part solution. It's about 1, fortifying the home itself, and 2, properly managing the technology that you've put on it. All right, let's tackle part 1, fortifying your foundation. This is all about home hardening, making the actual structure of your house as tough and fire-resistant as it can possibly be. And your first line of defense actually starts on the ground, not the roof. It's this concept called defensible space, which is a huge deal for fire safety experts, especially out in places like California. The idea is simple. You create a zone right around your house, about 5 feet out, where there's nothing that can burn. No mulch, no plants. And from there, you thin out the vegetation for about 100 feet to rob an approaching fire of its fuel.
A house's weakest points against fire are always its openings, the windows and doors. That standard glass in most windows, it can shatter from the intense heat of a wildfire in no time. And once that happens, embers can just blow right inside. But look at the difference with tempered glass. it's 3 to 4 times stronger. It's a pretty straightforward upgrade that can literally be the difference between your home surviving or not.
And here are a few more really critical home hardening tips. The theme is super simple. Stop embers. Embers are the real killers in a wildfire. So a Class A fire-rated roof is job number 1. Then you have to go around and seal every little gap, especially your attic vents, with fine metal mesh. They have to be blocked. And finally, a solid fire-rated door makes sure there's no easy entry point for those tiny wind-driven sparks.
Okay, so you've hardened your home against embers coming from the outside. Awesome. But what about the risk you're putting on your own roof? And that brings us to part 2, managing the technology.
Look, if you take away just one thing about the solar gear itself, let it be this: quality is everything. It means using good, certified components from brands with a solid reputation. It means hiring qualified professional installers, not just whoever gives you the lowest bid. And it means planning for regular checkups. Oh, and here's a great pro tip. Never, ever mix and match plug connectors from different companies. They might look like they fit together, but tiny microscopic imperfections can create resistance, which creates heat. And you know what heat creates.
And speaking of maintenance, here's an incredibly simple and practical tip from that same German report. Inside the main DC switch for your system, the metal contacts can get a little bit of buildup over time, which increases resistance. So, to prevent that, about once a year, a professional should safely de-energize the whole system and just flip that main switch on and off 10 times. That's it. That simple mechanical action can wipe the contacts clean and help maintain a safe connection.
So, let's pull all of this together. What does it take to build a truly resilient home?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that you just can't look at these things in isolation. You can have the most fireproof house in the world, but if you put a shoddy solar system on top, it's still vulnerable. And hey, you can have the safest, most perfectly installed solar system, but if your house is surrounded by flammable brush, you're still at risk. Real, true resilience, that only happens when you see the house and the technology as one single integrated safety system.
So that really leaves us with one final, crucial question to ask yourself. When you think about your home safety plan, are you really seeing the whole picture? Are you thinking about the risks on your roof with the same level of care that you think about the risks in the landscape around it? Because at the end of the day, true resilience demands nothing less.